Hey everyone, Jeremy here. It is Tuesday night and we're going to create some art. It's going to be awesome. Happy to see you guys. It is Tuesday night. I was wondering what I wanted to draw tonight, and recently I was watching this trail cam, and it's really great. So this trail cam's up, it's running 24 hours a day. It's got motion capture on it, so anytime a critter comes by, they pop up on camera. And there were a couple of deer, and I thought those were really cool too. But one of the things that made an appearance was a possum. Now I know they're technically opossums, but I've always called them possums, so that's what I'm going to call them tonight. But I know that this isn't everybody's favorite creature, but I actually think they're really cute. Or they can look cute. They can look like maybe overgrown hedgehogs, which I always thought were adorable. So I know it's not for everybody, but I actually like these possums. Um, Whenever they play dead and stuff, they do look like a little scary. They do kind of look like a pretty much like a carcass, but not when they're alive. When they're alive and they're just like hanging out in branches and stuff like that, they look super cute to me. Regardless, we draw things sometimes that aren't cute. So if you don't find them cute, that's totally fine. Hopefully you'll hang out and chat with us anyway. So enough introduction. I'm just going to jump in and start drawing. So I do kind of want to be like a wildlife artist, and not all wildlife is adorable. Most of them are, but I actually really, really like possums. I think they're super cute. Yeah, Pack a Jack, awesome possum Tuesday. And let's see, we got Rum Dog in here. We got Kid. Kid already said, not sure if this one's going to be scoopable. Of course it's going to be scoopable. It's going to be adorable. Have faith. Now, these guys are cute. They got these big black eyes and, you know, I don't know. If you see one in the wild, you may not like them. Like you don't really want to mess with these guys if you ever see one in the wild because like they can carry diseases and stuff like that. Oddly enough, I think they're immune from like rabies, but you don't want to get bit by one anyway. Oh, Kevin said sadly my dogs got one the other night. First one that didn't fool them playing dead. Yeah, so these guys always bugging my dogs as well. I live in like a little cul-de-sac, and we got one of those like generic fences in the backyard. And these guys use those fences as catwalks to kind of walk between different houses and stuff. And every now and then they come down off the fence and just drive my dogs crazy. Um, there have been actual dead ones in the backyard that I've had to like dispose of, and I wasn't really sure if they were just playing dead or if they were actually dead. Um, But yeah, these guys are known for all that stuff. You guys are familiar with possums. Like they always play dead. Um, no, it's not a skunk. Yeah, so yeah, I should probably let people know. Like, I guess maybe these aren't in everybody's neck of the woods. They're certainly like all over the place here in Kentucky. Um, on the roadway and not. Um, but they're called Virginia possums. So I don't know if that means that they're from Virginia or not. But they're like native to the like they're the largest marsupial species native to the United States. So we have them everywhere. People run them over. Like it's pretty bad because like they I don't know. I don't know if they just get frightened by the cars and just lay down and just like pretend to die and then you run them over or something. But they're always on the side of the road. These guys, I feel really bad for them. Of course, Kentucky, the uh, the stereotype is that we eat these guys in our stews and stuff like that. None of that's true. Well, as far as I know, like I don't think there's anybody in Kentucky that eats these guys. I would imagine these guys taste terrible. But yeah, I think they're adorable. I think they're I realize that they freak some people out. Whenever they're playing dead, they look actually dead. Their mouths curl up, exposing their teeth, and I think that's all part of the act. I think that's actually built into um, their defense mechanism. Like they want to look like a dead animal with the decay already kicking in. So they look terrible when they're playing dead, but when they're not playing dead, I think they look just as adorable as ferrets or like hedgehogs. Who doesn't like hedgehogs? These are like just giant hedgehogs. Anyway, I don't feel like I have to defend them. I feel like they defend themselves. So if you don't like possums, that's your business, but I love them. They're adorable. But yeah, they're all over the place. My dogs like to get them up in a tree. There was one in the backyard one time. Trying to get a picture of it and stuff, and then the dogs came by, and by the time I looked down to like adjust my camera and look back up, it was gone. I don't know what happened to it. There was another time when I thought there was one dead. There was one in the backyard, and I thought the dogs actually got to it. And I went back there, and I'm like, oh man, they got another one. So like I went to go get a shovel so I could pick it up, and by the time I came back, it was gone. So I think it was literally playing dead, dead enough to fool me into thinking it was actually dead because I went and got a shovel. I was gonna get rid of the little guy, and by the time I got back, he was already gone. So if you guys don't have these guys in your neck of the woods, that's kind of what they're known for. They're these little critters. I don't know. They're about the size of a raccoon, and they kind of look like a rat. Of course, I like rats too. So I happen to think rats are adorable. So I get that some people don't like these guys, but they're wrong. But anyway, they're all over the place. They play dead. That's what they're famous for. So like I realize not everybody watches this is from the United States. You might not be familiar with these possums, but they play dead, and they're very convincing at it. Like they can convince most animals to leave them alone. It's like their total defense mechanism. They just kind of and they don't like curl up in a ball and play dead. You know, like those little roly poly insects. You touch them and they roll up into a ball. Now these guys they spread out like they've been laying in the sun for a while or something. And they are less adorable when they're playing dead. I can concur with that because they do. I mean, they do the whole thing. Like their teeth kind of become exposed as if like they've been drying out in the sun for a little while. It's very weird. I don't know if anybody keeps these guys as pets. I guess you probably could. My understanding is that they just like really stink bad, but I don't know if that's just because I don't know if they actually stink bad or people just kind of equate them with like skunks and stuff. I don't know. They're not skunks. As far as I know, they don't spray a scent or anything like that. But feel free to fact check me because I am not very. I, I I don't spend a lot of time researching these guys. I don't think I would ever keep one for a pet for my own, just because they have these like really kind of gnarly teeth that kind of like I don't know. I think they're cute, but they are kind of like they got those teeth that I wouldn't want to be bit by one. I don't know what sort of diseases they carry. I really don't. I know that they one of their big things that they're known for is that they do not get rabies. Like something in their system, I don't know what it is, makes them rabies proof. Now, I don't know if that means that they can't carry rabies, so like maybe they have rabies and you don't want to touch them because like even though they're immune, you'll get the rabies or I don't know how any of that works. So don't go messing with these guys saying, "Well, Jeremy said that they were like immune to rabies, so I think they're fine to pick up." No, do not do that. Uh, if you ever see one of these in the wild, honestly, just leave them be. You know, they mind their own business. If you really need to get rid of one, you know, call a professional animal control or something like that. Try to find one that'll dispose of them properly, not dispose of them, but like put them in a carrier and take them off to the woods or something. Because like I don't know, I feel like people feel like it's okay to harm these guys, you know, because you always see them on by the side of the road, they get run over and stuff, so it's easy to become desensitized to them, but I feel like people should give possums a chance. Whenever I see them, um, you know, I kind of shoo them away so that they don't mess with my dogs and stuff. But otherwise, I think they're adorable. Like if one was actually up on my fence, I would watch it for a while. I wouldn't shoo it away if it's not bothering anybody. But anyway, the one I saw on the wildlife camera, it was so funny. Um, he comes into the view of the trail cam, and the trail cam it doesn't take like full motion video. It takes like still shots, and it takes like a series. Whenever it detects motions, whenever it detects motion, it takes a series of still shots in order, like really quickly. So you do get to see some movement, but it's all jerky and like, of course, there's still images. But if you splice them together, you get kind of like a almost like a stop motion animation. Only a few frames per second, but that's what somebody had done with this particular uh, visitor on the trail cam, and it was adorable. The guy comes in and he's like yelling at the trail cam, like he's like at the trail cam, and then he does this weird floppy dance and stuff. It's almost like um, I don't know, like came in like a wrecking ball or something. He just comes into the scene and he just flops all around and then leaves. I mean, he had to have been aware that there was a trail camera there because he was performing. I don't usually see these guys do much of anything. Whenever I see them, they're literally playing possum, which is the saying, you know. Hey, Larry, how's it going? Yeah, I don't know if I gave a shout out to Packer and Cabin and Larry, but hey, guys, I appreciate you guys showing up. If there's ever anybody who is afraid to chime in the chat, don't be, because this is a great group of guys, the people or and ladies, great group of people who show up here. They're always so nice. They're always so welcoming, and wide variety of people from a bunch of different places, like mostly from the United States, but also other parts of the world. Everybody gets along really well. Everybody's complimentary to each other, so like feel free to chat if you're like intimidated or something like that. You think like, oh, I'm the new guy. Nobody's going to like me or something like that. Don't stress that. Everybody's nice, and if they're not nice, I'll give them a scolding. But I've never had to. It's amazing. I'm amazed that people get along so well. So what I'm doing is what I usually do. So I take a stick of charcoal and I use this blending stump to kind of create some form to the thing that I'm drawing. It's worked really well in doing wildlife pictures. I like the technique. And then once I get like a kind of a form, I'll come back and add some detail and some other features. But I always like to start with this part just because I can come back and do this later, but this helps guide me. So like I start with a sketch of like where I think something should be on the page anyway, just for like composition's sake. Um, but from there, I really don't know how to develop these guys unless I do something like this, where I'm kind of like filling in some shadow areas and kind of making my way around the picture and just kind of guessing where things are going to be. So like this gives me the opportunity to work with like lights and shadows and stuff before I ever add any kind of details or anything like that. International friends. Yep, exactly. Warhorse Kabar. You got another name in here, and I forget what it is, but they eat the cat food my mom leaves on the porch for the local strays. Yeah, so the possums eat the cat food that you leave out if you want. Um, but I think they get a bad reputation for that too, because honestly, if they didn't eat the cat food, raccoons will probably come by and eat the cat food anyway. But yeah, these guys compete for the cat food you leave out for the local strays. They love cat food. Like if you ever just wanted to be nice to a possum, just leave some cat food out for them. They'll thank you for it. Why did the possum cross the road? Don't know. To show the chicken how not to do it. These guys are kind of known for being clumsy, and I don't know. Like there's some animals that like they get a bad reputation where you think that like these guys really are kind of on the Darwin Awards list, where you're like, how are these guys still a species that are not extinct? Because um, often these animals that act this way are always trying to kill themselves. So like they're always trying to like, you know, they're always taking risks. They never really pay attention to what they're doing. Like honestly, you find these guys so much in the middle of the road that you would think, hey, just get out of the road, guys. Um, so when kid says, "Why'd the possum cross the road to show chickens how not to do it?" Yeah, that kind of rings true because these guys are always getting run over. I feel so bad for them. Like Drive slow, guys. Put on your high beams and look for what's in the road so you don't run these guys over. They don't deserve it. They're just living. Actually, I'm not really sure what function these guys perform. Like, this is kind of mean, but I don't know what their actual like use to like the world is. That's not to say you should run them over because they're useless. I'm just saying I don't really know. Like, some animals they kind of like keep other animals in check, or they keep bugs at a distance or whatever. I'm not really sure what these guys do. They're just they're just rodents. Like, well, they're not technically rodents, I don't think. I don't know how we ended up with marsupials in North America. I did look it up, and according to the Wikipedia article, apparently they migrated into North America from South America when the um, when the two continents kind of joined together. So that must have been like millions and millions of years ago. So they've been here for a long time. Um, but like you don't have a lot of so marsupials are the kind of animals that I don't know if that's their defining characteristic, but they have those pouches. So like literally a baby possum would be called a joey, just like a kangaroo would be, and they're in the same like family as like koala bears and kangaroos and stuff. There's a couple other um, examples that I can't think of off the top of my head, but we don't really have these kind of animals that much in North America, so these guys are pretty unique. They're pretty unique because they're special in terms of what kind of animal they are, but they're also interesting because they're like ubiquitous. They're everywhere around here. I don't know if they're everywhere in the United States, but they're certainly everywhere here in Kentucky. Oh, they eat a lot of ticks. There you go. Thanks, Kevin. That's important. I I don't even like to walk in the woods anymore. I'm like a tick magnet. Every time I go out, I pick up ticks. Like the couple of weeks ago, I went for a walk at like this wildlife management area where this place is pretty like just straight up nature. It's like basically walking out in the woods. There's no civilization there. Um, it's a wildlife management area that they just kind of like leave natural. People go hunting there sometimes, but also you can go like hiking there and do like photography, all these different things. And it's so natural that like basically you just walk out there. You're walking in like knee high grass and there are ticks everywhere. And the last time I went out there, I came back with like a bunch of bug bites. It was ridiculous. And I had like six ticks on me. It's just it's just crazy. So if these little guys eat ticks, that's good enough for me. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Mr. Possum. How's this guy not adorable? He's already starting to look adorable. Possums are nasty critters. I'm sorry, totally not scoopable. Oh, I don't know. Even if they're not scoopable, that's okay. Like I said, as a wildlife artist or aspiring wildlife artist, I've got to draw all the wildlife. Um, I particularly don't think like adult tigers are cute. I think that they're beautiful animals, but I don't think that they're cute. There are many other animals that I would draw that I don't really think are cute, but I draw them anyway. I'm not sure that pugs are cute. I'm gonna give beat up for that comment, but um, I don't know. Like pugs have those like weird eyes and stuff like that. I don't know if I would consider that cute. I guess it's kind of cute because they're what was the dog that they had in Deadpool that I drew just a couple of weeks ago? I wouldn't consider that dog um like it was literally voted the ugliest dog in the UK. I think that makes it cute, to be honest. So like um what's it, Peggy? Peggy is cute, but I think it's because he's Peggy is so like weird looking. I don't know. That's how I feel about pugs. I think they can be raised tame if you get them early. I've heard of people having them. I don't know. Yeah, that's a question. It's like, can they be domesticated? I don't know. I really don't know. I've seen people have them, but I don't know if that's because like they're vets and they're taking care of them because they've like been injured or something and they're being rehabilitated. I don't know if these guys are truly domesticated. Like like even some cats that look like house cats and stuff, they're completely feral and there's nothing you can do to domesticate those cats. I would imagine these guys are like that. I know like wolves and things like that are like those. Um, I don't know anybody clamoring to have one of these guys as pets. It's only when they like open their mouth that they become like not cute, in my opinion. I think they look. I'd stand by my observation. I think they look like giant hedgehogs. So like if hedgehogs grew up and like I don't know, they grew up, got a job, left the house, worked in the worked in the woods for 20 years or something like that, they would end up looking like possums. So these are hedgehogs that have like been treated badly by life, kind of beat down and stuff like that. That's what they are. All right, so I feel like I've got enough in the face where I can start adding some details. Um, I'm going to use my brush technique to kind of fill in some of this shadow area. I'm going to do that before I add the eyes. Um, just because I like the blendingness of this. So this is a brush that I dip a little bit in water. I've got some water over here. I run it across my stick of charcoal, and then I kind of use that as like a watercolor. And this is a technique that I started doing a little while back, and I love it so much that I just keep doing it over and over. I think it works really well. It gives it this kind of like watercolor slash inked look. And it's really good for animals because like you get that. I mean, you're using a brush to kind of like brush in the hair. I like that. Yeah, I found two of them in your hen house. Yeah, if you have chickens, I guess that's bad. But they're not. They're not exclusively bad like that. I mean, you've got foxes and stuff that are bad for chickens. Basically, every animal wants your chickens. Like a dog would want your chicken if you weren't looking. Basically, chickens are just like I don't know. Like animals look at it like those are they're on the menu. Like it's Kentucky Fried Chicken or something. Anyway, I think I want to kind of like lighten that up, but I'll have to come back and do that. It doesn't look like y'all should get into bed. Oh, you're talking about like the storm, I think. We had a pretty bad storm here earlier, but it kind of wrapped up. We had like hail and all that jazz. Yeah, it got a little bit better. We're getting into the fall stormy weather kind of thing. When are all the hurricanes? Is this hurricane season? I think it is hurricane season. That's right. And in Florida, you guys are facing a hurricane. So yeah, make sure you batten the house and hatches there, Larry. I don't remember where they said that's going to be, but if it's in your neck of the woods, be careful. We don't want you disappearing again. Make sure you give us a proof of life if your power goes out or something like that. Send one of us an email or something just to let us know you're okay. Especially if it's out for several days. All right, so I think that's a good start of that process. I did want to kind of clean this up. I went a little bit overboard. So what's cool about doing these processes is that you're able to use all the same tools for this that you normally do with charcoal. So I can use my kneaded eraser and pick up some of this stuff. It's a little bit harder. I have to be a little bit more forceful with it because I blended it in with the water. The other one I can use is maybe this one will work a little bit more. Yeah, I just wanted to whiten that up a little bit. I made that a little bit too gray. All right, so that's good. All right, Um, Now I'm going to use I use my pencil. I dip it in the water just because I'm crazy, and that makes me feel like I'm doing ink. But it also makes like things really like a really neat effect when I'm working with these solid areas of black. So I want the eyes to be super black. Again, not unlike the hedgehog, but Jeremy, the storm is moving north across Georgia and into your neck of the woods, bringing you some rain. Thanks, I appreciate that. Because I have to mow the lawn. Well, you guys be safe down there. And when it comes up this way, I'll do the same. Yeah, I think unfortunately we are in those months where we get the bad weather, don't we? This in spring. Gotta watch out for tornadoes in the spring around here, and then you guys all have to watch out for hurricanes. So basically, if you have an animal that has these black eyes, that is 100% adorable. I don't care who you are. Like, if you have these black-eyed critters, they look super cute. I'm sorry, but they do. Maybe you don't like these guys because you had a bad experience with them, but they still look cute. I respect your wrong decision that these guys are somehow terrible. Some people really don't like these guys. And I get it. They are, first off, they don't care about boundaries. They'll get up and whatever it is. Like if you have a chicken coop, they'll eat your chickens. Um, I was working with one of my generators when son arrived. Jeremy, I saw a video on the Green River. It was way down. You guys definitely need some H2O. Yeah, it has been kind of dry this year. I'm not a farmer, so I don't pay attention to that stuff as much as maybe other people, but like I do kind of glance at the water levels whenever I go kayaking, especially like if I go kayaking in a creek or something that has um that like if the water level was down, you really feel it in your boat. And it does feel like it's been a pretty dry summer. So I'm not sure where the Green River is. Where is that? Around here we've got the Kentucky River, we've got the Ohio River, we've got like a lot of inland creeks. So you see how this technique works. Already we've got a pretty realistic looking eye here just by adding some detail. So you can see the difference. A little bit goes a long way. I love this technique where you kind of add the form and stuff, and then you come back and you add these dark details and stuff, and it really brings the eye out. Um, and this is a great example because I don't always do this, but if I just like show you this eye versus this eye, that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's such a cool technique. Once I started doing this, I kind of keep pressing the envelope. I keep trying to do a bunch of different animals just to see, if there's any limitations. And I found that this technique works really well for doing like a bunch of different animals. I've done dogs, I've done cats, I've done one or two people, not really a lot. I need to try another person honestly, but I've done a couple of different kind of animals and stuff in this style, and it always seems to work out. It looks kind of cute. Or not necessarily cute, but it does kind of look realistic, I think. It's just moving back and forth between something detailed and something kind of like just you know blah and like abstract and blurred. Just kind of pushing them back and forth because like when you go between those two different contrasts and stuff, you get something that looks really nice, I think, in my opinion. Just kind of lightly get in some shadows through here. These guys have like the little Ridges. I don't know what those are called. Somebody told me what those were called, but I just call them Ridges. But they have those like cat or I don't know. Maybe these guys look like just giant rats, and that's why people don't like them. I think they look like giant hedgehogs, but I can see how people might think of them as giant rats as well. Green River is down in my hometown stomping grounds in western Kentucky. It actually has a lot of unique features. Oh, cool. Yeah. So I was born in Kentucky, but like we moved away. My dad was in the military, so I was born at Fort Knox and stuff. But most of my extended family is from like South Carolina. And then of course my dad was in the military, so we moved around a lot and stuff. So I was born in Kentucky, and then I've been living in central Kentucky for a number of years, but I haven't gone everywhere in Kentucky that I really should. Like I haven't been down to um, what was that part of Kentucky where it's kind of like in between the lakes or something like that, down in the corner. I haven't been down to the corner of Kentucky. Way back in the day, I've gone into some of the different places going caving. That was back like a long time ago, like back when I was a teenager. But um, I really feel like I should just get in the car and take a couple of road trips. I've been out to Eastern Kentucky quite a few times because my brother's wife, I guess sister-in-law, that would be, I had to think about that for a minute. My sister-in-law is from Eastern Kentucky, so I've been out there a few times to visit her family, um, when they're in town at like Thanksgiving or something like that. It's easier just to go out there because like, she can see her family and, I don't really care, go out there and visit and say hi and stuff as well. But yeah, so I've been out to Eastern Kentucky quite a few times. Obviously, I've been out to like Western Kentucky and Northern Kentucky and stuff like that, but I haven't been down Southern Kentucky areas all that much. The Green River also played a role in forming Mammoth Cave. So, for those of you who don't know, Mammoth Cave is a phenomenal geological feature here in Kentucky. It's this massive or mammoth cave system. It's definitely like I don't know if it's the largest cave system in the United States or one of them or something like that, but it's huge and we're known for it. Um, it's definitely a beautiful thing to see. So I like that, but in some ways, I kind of prefer some of the other caves around here better, just because I feel like Mammoth Cave, because it's so well known, it's become a little bit commercialized. There's a what is it called? Something with a C, uh, something caverns. I don't remember what it is, but it's a smaller cave system. A little bit further out east towards Red River Gorge. Kevin will probably mention the name of it because it's slipping my mind. But yeah, Carter Caves. There you go. I like those caves. They're short, small, but you can go in there and just kind of crawl around and stuff like that, and nobody's going to bother you up in there. I like that. Um, yeah, Carter Cave. I totally forgot. Um, but that place is kind of cool. I always thought that like if I ever had like a geocache or like a little small treasure or something that's only worth a couple of $100 or something, I'd hide it in a cave. I think that would be kind of cool. But then you run the risk of somebody like getting themselves hurt. Like you could get so like there's caves around here all over the place because we're kind of built on limestone and limestone dissolves in a way that creates caves. Um, so like a lot of Kentucky is built on caves and stuff. What's a little scary about caving is obviously claustrophobia, where you can end up getting trapped in there or something. But more, I think, that's a danger is that if you don't know what you're doing, you may end up like falling, to your death because like if you're crawling around on your hands and knees and you see a hole or something, you might be like, oh, okay, I can crawl down in that hole, and then you're falling like 100 feet or something to your death. That's no good. So you like you never just want to kind of wander around a cave unless you know what you're doing. Which I don't. Like I would never really go like through a massive cave system without like a guide or something like that because I'd be afraid of getting lost and I never really had claustrophobia so much. Um, but the older I get and stuff, I start thinking about all the different things that could go bad. And I think probably like I don't know, I haven't tested this because I haven't really been in a situation where I'd be worried about it, but I think uh I think I can muster up some claustrophobia. But no, I love caving. I always have since I was a kid. Um, and there's a huge difference between like a commercialized cave where you're just basically walking through, and they have these like little, you know, skinny man features where you have to kind of like shimmy through and stuff. But that's nothing compared to like actual caving, in my opinion. So like actual caving is where you're crawling, basically on your belly through like a narrow crevice, and if you have the slightest bit of claustrophobia, you're just freaking out, basically. Yeah, it's splunking. That's right. That's what it's called. Yeah, I used to do all that stuff when I was in Boy Scouts. In fact, I was in Boy Scouts in Cincinnati, and we used to come down to Kentucky to the caves down here just because they're so plentiful. I've actually been camping inside of a cave. That's something you don't typically do in like a commercial cave. Um, that's a weird experience. First off, caves are like really nice as far as like temperatures go. Like they maintain a like a steady, I don't know, 50, 60 degrees. I guess there's probably some variation, but they're climate controlled essentially. And camping out in one, like it's not like you need a tent or you're worried about like the weather because like you're in a cave. And it's so weird because once you turn off those flashlights, you're just surrounded in darkness. It's just like a big, huge like container of darkness. And it's so interesting to actually go camping in them because they're like quiet too. And if you're camping out in the woods, even after you switch off the flashlight or something, there's stars, there's the moon, there's some sort of light. There is no light in a cave. You switch that light off, and it's basically sensory deprivation. These ears are all black too. That's how they become cute. So the black ears and the black eyes. I mean, how can you guys not like these animals? They're adorable. All right, well, to each their own. I'm sticking by these guys are scoopable. You can call them scoopable like kitty litter is scoopable. I don't know. I would love to have it one of these guys as a pet. I don't know. Yeah, honestly, I have heard that they stink, and that's kind of a deal breaker for me. I don't want an animal to smell. The ferrets kind of smell funny too, but like these guys basically look like a gigantic fat ferret. I don't like their tails. All right, so okay, all right. If we're talking about the features that I do like and the features that I don't like, I like their eyes. Their eyes are cute. I like their nose. Their nose is like a pink little button. That's adorable. I don't like their tails. Their tails are weird. Possum tails are like they're not hairy. They're just kind of like I don't know. It's weird. I don't know how to describe them. They're like worms. They have like worms sticking out of their butt. That's what their tails look like gigantic fat worms sticking out of their butt. So no, I do not like possum tails. There's some features I like. Their tails are not one of them. Like if they had a nice fluffy tail, like I don't know, like a groundhog or something. There you go, scoopable light. I like that. Larry says, I think having a spot on. It was northwest of Bowling Green, maybe the Morgantown area. Gotcha. Yeah. I always defer to Kevin. Kevin is a local boy. He's been here in Kentucky, I think all of his life, if not, well, except for like he was in the military, so he traveled for that. But other than that, he's like, I mean, he can practically run the tourism department in Kentucky, like at least as far as I know, because he is always full of these little facts. He's actually a Kentucky Colonel. We have a Kentucky Colonel in our chat right now. Like, he's basically Colonel Sanders. Um, I think that's cool. You know, a lot of people don't know what a Kentucky Colonel is. I'm not sure if I know exactly myself, but it's a select group. Not everybody gets to be a Kentucky Colonel. It's like, I don't know, a couple of hundred, maybe more, maybe 1,000 or whatever, but that's still like not a lot of people. It's like this secret society. All they do is sit around and swap like fried chicken recipes or something. I don't know what they do. I really don't. But whatever they do, Kevin's doing it because he's a Kentucky Colonel. I like Kevin. He's a friend of mine. He's a really good friend actually. But yeah, he knows everything about Kentucky. I feel like I would know more about Kentucky because I am interested and I do live here. But I don't know. I just don't get out of it enough. I don't go out and do the touristy things like going to commercial caves and stuff like that. Um, I would want more like an adventure. So like if Mammoth Cave had like well like an overnight kind of wild tour or something like that where you're kind of like going off off the beaten path, I'd be up for that. That'd be cool. But if any of you guys ever do go caving, Warhorse Kabar says we have a lot of lava tube caves where I live. That's cool. Lava Bed National Monument is only an hour drive from my house. You could spend a month exploring underground without retracing your step. That's awesome. That's the kind of adventure that I would be interested in. I love that. Um, but yeah, any of you guys who actually go, you have to come out the original recipe from my cold dead hands. I mean, that's why they call it a secret. If they told you, it wouldn't be a secret, would it? I like the detail in this here. I think that turned out pretty good. Get some little, little fluffs coming in for the thing. Yeah, I think that looks like a pretty good deal. A lot of detail in there. But yeah, if you ever go caving, like honestly, take a moment, with a guide so that you don't like fall off a cliff or something like that. But go into like a big cavern and just shut the lights off. Shut your flashlight off. Have everybody in your group. Always go in a group. Don't go by yourself. Um, have everybody in your group. Shut your lights off. It's just an amazing experience to like just be in that kind of like sensory deprivation because it really is. We're not meant to be like human beings. Like they actually have these like sensory deprivation tanks where you can kind of lay in them, and they have like salted water that's raised to the body temperature so that you don't really feel your surroundings. And like it's all dark in there, you can't really see anything. Um, they have those kind of systems and they're amazing. People report all kinds of like weird experiences, like where they're kind of have like lightweight hallucinations, things like that, while in these sensory deprivation tanks. Um, but you kind of get that sort of experience in a cave when you shut off all the lights and stuff. Human beings are not meant to not have any kind of stimuli. Literally, we would go nuts because our bodies are used to. I mean, just right now, I can feel. I got a fan on. I can feel the wind on my skin. I can feel. Well, I can see. You guys. I can see in the chat and stuff. I can hear my dog back here snoring. Always, we're under all of this sensory input and stuff. Where if we shut it off, our brains get really confused and we start making up stimuli, and that's where you get those hallucinations and things like that. But even for like short periods, it's just a strange experience. And you don't have to go caving in order to experience that. Like I said, probably like most major towns and stuff, if you look it up, you can find some place that has a sensory deprivation tank where you can go and lay in it. It's probably run by some yogi or something like that, some kind of weird situation, but it's still a lot of fun. I recommend it. It's kind of cool. If you're into like meditation or anything like that, it's definitely one of those things that you want to give a shot. Um, but it's kind of a cool experience. Benjamin Jones, hey, welcome to chat. Says you will. Oh, will you collaborate with System of a Down? I would love to collaborate with System of a Down. I don't think that they know who I am, but great band. Um, Warhorse is my roommate slash dog brother. Awesome. Yeah, he's been in here before. I don't remember his other name that he goes by, but yeah, I've seen him before. Larry says, "Oh, come on, Kevin, 11 herbs and spices." If you're lucky, he might share three herbs and spices with you. You have to guess the other eight. Hey, I'll tell you the secret though when it comes to fried chicken. And the 11 herbs and spices. Literally everybody around here has their own recipe. They'll tell you that it's passed on through generations. They'll tell you it came from their great great grandmother or something like that. I don't know if any of that's true, but literally everybody around here has some sort of uh, recipe for fried chicken. I mean, it is not an over exaggeration to say that we are known for our chicken and we have a lot of chicken. There are places around where you can get fried chicken, like basically anywhere in the South you can get fried chicken, but around here, everybody seems to have their own fried chicken. It's kind of like the thing, and it's good. I'm not a big fried chicken person myself. There's only so much grease I can eat before, like, I don't know, start having tummy troubles. But there is some really good fried chicken around here. Can't say I'm an expert on fried chicken, but I can tell you that there is really good fried chicken around here and an abundance of it. So if you ever come to town, make sure you get the fried chicken. There's a couple of dishes that we're known for that you should try. One is you should try fried chicken that's not from KFC. So if you ever come to Kentucky, you should find some place that's known for their, go on Yelp or something like that and find some place that's known for their fried chicken. Give them a shot and enjoy the Kentucky experience that way. The other thing that you have to get is something called a hot brown. I've talked about it here on this show before. Yeah, I don't know when, but usually after Thanksgiving, I always have a hot brown with the Thanksgiving leftovers. But a hot brown is an open faced sandwich piled with turkey, like a Mornay sauce, which I think is kind of like a cheese gravy. I don't know what the technical thing is. It's basically cheese. Um, Cheese like a Texas toast, turkey. You're gonna have like some roasted tomatoes on there. You're gonna have some bacon. It is awesome. Hot brown. Look it up. You definitely want one of those if you come to Kentucky. And then the only other dish that I think we're known for, and again, somebody else can correct me if they know better, but we're also known for this like kind of like a beef stew or like just a meat stew, I guess. It doesn't have to be beef. But it's called burgoo, and it's really good. It's basically just like a stew that it's got all the good stuff in it, and I think it doesn't really matter what you put in it as long as it's like a meat stew. Basically the stuff that you would find in you know basically any kind of beef stew, except that I don't think it has to be beef. The reason why I mention it is because I think traditionally, or at least according to legend, it's basically roadkill stew. And these little guys are probably in there. These guys are probably in our burgoo. Um, but it's basically the poor man's stew. Like you just throw in whatever sort of like meat you have laying around with sort of vegetables or something like that. Yeah, Kevin knows what I'm talking about. Old school burgoo had possum in it for sure. And I don't know if that's just because it's like, you know, the joke is, and I don't know how serious the joke is, that burgoo kind of is basically roadkill stew. Um, but even if it wasn't like made with roadkill, they probably still put possum in it just because possums are so attainable. They're like everywhere. They're like basically, I don't know, like all over the place. So yeah, possum stew would be burgoo, and we're known for that. So those are the three dishes I would recommend if you ever come to Kentucky. Uh, get yourself some fried chicken that's not from KFC. Um, in fact, I can tell you where I recommend. So there's a place in Frankfort, Kentucky, which is in central Kentucky as well, um, that supposedly was started by Colonel Sanders' wife. and it's still in operation today. They have their own recipe for their chicken. Their chicken's amazing. Their fried chicken is some of the best fried chicken I've ever had. And even though it's from the Colonel Sanders family, it's not from KFC, which is a commercialized version of Colonel Sanders. So I feel like it's more authentic. I'm all about authenticity, even though like I can't really say that this is like authentic Kentucky Fried Chicken, but it feels like authentic Kentucky Fried Chicken. So I recommend that. Give that a shot. Anyway, this guy's looking pretty good. Is Geppetto afraid of possums? Yes. That's a that's a great observation there. He's terrified. He's terrified of all night creatures, raccoons, possums, Larry in a speedo. Larry's like, no, to self, don't try burgoo. I mean, it's good. So like modern burgoo is safe. Like you don't want authentic burgoo. Authentic burgoo probably is like roadkill. But no, I mean, it's basically beef stew now, and it's pretty good. It's like any kind of like Irish stew or something like that. You can't go wrong with it. Anyway, I think we got a pretty realistic looking face here. I'm pretty happy with that. Let me move into some of these other areas, get those kind of going. I wonder if I can get them dark with this. Yeah, I think we can get some dark areas in here. I kind of want some burger now. In Lexington, it's Chrisfield Market on Southland Drive, hands down some of the best in the state. For burgoo or for the fried chicken? I haven't ever been there. See, this is what we keep Kevin around for. He's getting recommendations. Now I realize none of you guys live around here, but you might visit. I do recommend visiting Kentucky. It's beautiful around here. You know, we're mostly known for our bourbons and horses and stuff. So like, there's certainly that. But I don't know. Different people come for different reasons. If you're like religious people, like I've never been there myself, but religious people they show up for that Noah's Ark. We've got that going, like a life-size Noah Ark. Um, People come for the wilderness. Um, we've got a lot of forests around here. I've been out west, and like I know some people who's only lived out west. They've never seen green before, I guess, and we've got a lot of that. That's not exclusively ours, but we do have like a lot of like I think it's a Daniel Boone National Forest around us. Um, but it's just everywhere. Like if you ever want to go hiking or just seeing nature and stuff like that, it's all around. Again, we have the caves and stuff like that. That's a huge tourism draw. But mostly horses and bourbon, which isn't bad. Like you can find a horse farm to tour around here. If you're into horses, you'll be able to pet horses. You'll be able to feed horses. Yeah, it's always like food chat. It becomes food chat before on a long enough stream, it always reverts to food. And it's usually my fault because I come in here, I've already had dinner, but I'm sitting around and like it's snack time. I kind of want something to eat. I get drawing and I get hungry, and if it's not me, somebody else will mention food, but it always comes around to food on this channel. But that's okay, you know. I think it's fine because we get some like good recommendations from each other. Um, Hater hasn't been in here for a while, but he used to be really into the whole chicken curry kind of stuff. That that that's huge. I like that stuff. That's good. Besides Moonlight in Owensboro, Keeneland has the best burgoo. I have had burgoo at Keeneland. Yeah, it's good stuff. Now that stuff's beef. They're not putting possum in their burgoo. Keeneland is a local racetrack for those who don't know. So you can go and watch the horses, you can drink some bourbon and have some burgoo all in one place. Um, we're coming up on the fall meet at Keeneland actually. Um, Next month, probably in a couple of weeks though, which is cool. I like to go to that each year. So I'm gonna put in some details down here, but right now I kind of want to put this branch in because he's not just floating in midair. He's sitting on a branch. So I'm gonna try to get that in here with this brush. So there's not like this isn't a log or anything like that. There's not like a ton of detail to this branch. So I think I'm gonna try to keep it kind of smooth. Um, which using the brush is really good for that. Now I'm going to put in another little branch down here. Sorry if I'm reaching across the picture, but okay, we got to do that. All right. So now that that branch is in there and I kind of know where it is, I can work around it to kind of finish off getting our little guy kind of just massed in here. So it does have like a little paw down here. I want to get quite a bit of darkness in there so that I know where that paw is. Or little foot. Lizards and gizzards. I eat chicken gizzards. I don't feed that to the dogs. I eat the chicken not gizzards, lizards. Not lizards, livers. Sorry, not chicken lizards. Um, yeah, I'll eat fried chicken livers anytime. Those are good. I know not everybody's into it, but that is my jam. I love fried livers. My parents always liked them, and they got me interested in chicken livers. They're really good fried. I just like liver anyway. Like liver's not for everybody, but I grew up eating liver, and I like it. And chicken liver, especially when it's fried up. Like uh, basically, whenever I eat chicken, fried chicken anyway, I like the skin. I like the breading on the skin, all of that stuff. So you get all that with your chicken livers as well, and it's pretty good. They're about the size of like little chicken nuggets, but they definitely have a distinct taste. I recommend even if you're not like a big liver fan, give chicken livers a try. Um, I don't know like if they have a Lee's famous recipe around you guys, but they have chicken livers there, or at least they used to. They don't have them at KFC, which is a disappointment, but they do have them at Lee's famous recipe. They may have them at Popeyes. I don't know. These may only be places that are around here. I have no idea. But chicken livers, they're really good. If you can find some place that serves them. My dad was boasting about going to a restaurant and having chicken livers, and I was like, you're probably food poisoned, right? And he's like, why is that? And I'm like, well, have you ever heard of a restaurant being known for their chicken livers? He's like, no, I don't think so. And I'm like, well, there you go. I have watched too many kitchen nightmares with Gordon Ramsay to know that, like, well, there's a couple of things. Okay, so never trust a restaurant that has a gigantic menu, and you see this a lot at like Mexican restaurants, and they have, or just like any kind of uh, uh, like ethnic restaurant where they have like all the dishes on there. So like all the Mexican dishes are on their menu. Be a little concerned and wary of that, and the reason why is because and I learned this from watching Kitchen Nightmares with Gordon Ramsay. If you have that many things on the menu, you have to have all that stuff there on the odd chance that somebody orders it, right? So that stuff is sitting in your freezer and it's not going to be fresh. Basically, they're going to thaw it out because you're the one guy a month that orders that dish. Uh, so it's not going to be fresh. They're going to thaw it out for you, and it's going to be disgusting. Or they're just going to pull it out of the fridge and it's probably expired and bad anyway. Anyway, point is, if they're not known for it, it's not going to be fresh. And if there's like a long menu, you're probably eating something that's like 6 months old. So anyway, point is with my dad, he was all happy. Hey, I found a place that serves chicken livers, and I'm like, oh, that sounds great. You're probably like food poisoned because I guarantee you, not a lot of people are ordering those um, uh, chicken livers because like not a lot of people even know about them. So if not a lot of people are ordering chicken livers, those chicken livers are not fresh. They've probably been sitting in there for like I don't know, like a year or something. It's disgusting. I don't trust restaurants that have like a long menu just because of Gordon Ramsay. I don't trust restaurants that have like long menus, and I don't trust restaurants that you know, will make something special for you or something like that that's off the menu because that kind of stuff, if they're not serving enough people that kind of food and everything, it's not going to be fresh. It's probably going to be something that's been sitting around collecting mold or something like that. I want a restaurant that has like 10 items tops. And when I'm in a restaurant that I don't really am not that familiar with, I'll be like, "Well, what's your special? What are people ordering today?" and stuff like that because that stuff's fresh because they're like moving tons of it. So it's about volume. So, little pro tip there. Kid says, "I can't stomach them, but my dogs love them." Yeah. Dogs love basically anything that says chicken. You give them chicken feet probably. I think my dogs just like the idea of chicken. Like you can pick up a piece of paper and say, "This is a chicken," and the dogs will go crazy over it. Like, oh my God, it's a piece of chicken. Hey guys, I'm drawing a chicken. It's so mean to them. I'm drawing a chicken. Beautiful chicken. It's best chicken in the whole world. It's got 11 herbs and spices. They got these cute little paws, these possums. Um, the other thing that these guys are known for is they hang by their tail. So like they're kind of like bats. They just kind of hang around. I got a sick kitty back here. I had to take the kitty to the vet today. He hasn't really been eating and stuff. I think he has like some problem with his liver. He's on a special diet. He hasn't been eating much and stuff. So like I've been feeding them tuna just to kind of fatten them up, but we'll see how it goes. Your hubby likes Chester's chicken livers. Oh, there you go. Nice. Ignorance is bliss. Your immune system is like a muscle. If you don't work it out, it gets weak. I agree with that. Like I eat stuff I'm not supposed to eat. Yeah, thanks, Lorraine. I really appreciate that. I have high hopes that he's going to be fine. I don't know. I haven't had the best of luck with animals sticking around. I just recently lost my rabbit, so I'm kind of like a little sensitive to the whole thing. And he's such a good kitty. I hope he pulls through, but you never know. You never know. But we got those type of medication where you have to like squirt it down his throat. I hate doing that. I feel like I don't know. I want to be the good cop. I want to be the one that he like turns to and is like, "Oh, you're my savior." I don't want to be the one that's shoving medicine down his throat. But it was either that or get like a feeding tube. I'm definitely not doing that. That's just terrible. I had a cat that had to have a feeding tube one time. I'm never doing that again. I felt like an asshole. But not. I think he's doing fine now. Like it was a while before I noticed that he wasn't really eating, and I'm like, oh, this is not good. And I probably took put off taking him to the vet a little bit longer than I should have, but I think he's got a good chance. I think it'd be fine. Probably hit a bad lizard. Yeah, he probably got into like some chicken livers. Yeah, he's probably fine. What are we doing on time here? Oh, we're doing great on time. Nice. So I think I need to work on his nose. His nose doesn't look very realistic at the moment. You get I lost a little bit of the shape of the nose here and all these different works here. Yeah, I think Kitty's going to be fine. Um, I love going to the vet. They have this little kitty that kind of walks around and stuff and just kind of owns the place. I love that kind of stuff. I would never go to a vet that didn't have a wandering kitty or like a wandering dog or some sort of animal that just kind of wanders the place. Um, I feel like if I ever ran a veterinarian place, that would be the first thing. Like to just to build credibility, I would like just have a kitty that just kind of is a mascot or something, just wandering around, or I don't know. If I was really bold, I'd have like some exotic animal. I'd have a possum running around. Um, but I would definitely have something. Just because I can't trust a vet that doesn't have like a kitty that's just kind of wandering around for to greet people. Like a, I don't know, like a Walmart greeter or something like that. But yeah, they have an adorable cat. Um, I didn't catch his name, or they probably told me his name, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. And it's one of those. I think they're calico cats, but has some markings that are kind of like fall colors. Um, I don't know what that's called. Like most calico cats, they're white with like patches of like orange and black, I think. This one's more like black with patches of orange and white, like little white accents. So that's sort of calico. I think they're still calicos, but I'm not sure. I'm not an expert on that kind of stuff. I would love to have a calico cat. I've had so many cats over the years. I probably had every single kind of cat imaginable. Um, I have recently made the observation that I want a gray cat because I was thinking back at all the cats that I've ever owned. The ones that have had the best health, they've lived the longest. They've done, you know, they're just cool cats that have a great temperament and stuff. Are these gray cats? And I wish I had a picture of one to show you, but hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. They're just these big, chubby gray cats. Um, I think there's a. I've never had like a purebred one, but I think there is a breed for that. Probably like Prussian or something. I don't know. Um, but that's what I want. I want another gray cat so they live long. I'm tired of losing animals. Been too many. Want to keep them around forever. They're always getting sick. But they're adorable when they're kittens. That's the problem. We get these animals when they're kittens because they're adorable, and then they cling to us, and we have such a great life with animals and stuff. And then at some point they take their own road and leave you behind. It's terrible. It's a terrible experience. It's one of the worst things that can happen to people. Sucks. Dog and cat at the vet are usually intended to act as emotional support animals for you and your pet. Hey, that's cool. That's a great observation. I like that. Yeah, I honestly, like I said, I wouldn't trust a vet that didn't have one, you know? So let that be a, like, if there's any veterinarians watching the show and you don't have one, go get one because, like, it's absolutely essential for your credibility to have these guys. So anyway, you can see I'm just kind of going over and over the same the same areas and stuff multiple times just to get these layers in there. I think it's looking pretty realistic. I'm pretty happy with this. I don't know if he looks cute. I'll leave that up to the viewer to decide because people have some predetermined viewpoints on possums, which I totally respect. Everybody has their own experiences with possums. The only thing I would ask is that people give possums a chance. Give them a chance. They're basically they're basically like strange cats. They're like strange cats out in your backyard and out in the woods, and Yeah, Lorraine says, there we go. That's a nice story. Lorraine says, last spring I saw a possum mother walking in the backyard with two babies on her back. That's a beautiful, pleasant imagery of one of these little guys. You don't usually hear those type of things. You always hear about them being up to no good, getting into things that they're not supposed to. Lorraine's got a story about a possum mother. Hey, Libra Animations, welcome to the channel. How's it going? Um, Not sure I've seen you before. If you're new here, be sure to say hi to some of the other people in the chat. They're all nice and friendly. Pretty good community we got going here. Folks from all over the United States hanging out, talking about food mostly. Like mostly we always talk about food. We talk about food, we talk about animals, we talk about movies, if you read any good books lately. I'm kind of curious about that. I'm actually in the market for a book. I haven't I try to read a book a year at least, and I realize like I've been so busy I haven't read any books this year. So I can go back to the well. There's a couple of books that I always enjoy reading. I might go back and look at one of those, but I wouldn't mind reading a new book that I haven't um, read yet. So if anybody's got any recommendations, I'm not really the problem with books. It's funny how like there's no segue into these topics that I bring up. Like I just start stream of consciousness thinking about. But let's talk about books for a moment. So the problem with books is I don't know what I want, right? So like when you go to a movie, you know the actors in it. Maybe you know the director if you're into that like that level of like recommendations. So you kind of know what to expect with a like a Quentin Tarantino movie. You know what you're gonna get. You know what you're gonna get if you go and see a Marvel movie. Um, you know what you're gonna get if you go and see a Ryan Reynolds movie. There's no big surprise, and you can sit there and say, "Hey, you know what? A new Ryan Reynolds movie opened, so I'm gonna go and see it." And when it comes to books, you kind of have that where you have your favorite authors. Like I like Dan Brown. Dan Brown's great. If Dan Brown put out a new book, I would probably read it. I used to read all of the Anne Rice books. There's Dean Koontz. I love Dean Koontz. I love Stephen King. If they ever put out something new, I would probably read that. The problem with books, though, for me, is that if it's not by an author that I recognize, I have no basis for judging whether a book's going to be decent or not. Like if I just go to the library or I go to a bookstore and I pick up a book or something, I have no way of knowing if I'm going to like this. And it's weird. I don't know if other people have that same problem, but it's certainly something I have where I end up reading the same authors all over like all the time just because I don't know what to read. Um, every now and then I'll be brave enough to pick up something that's on like a bestsellers list or something like that, and I might get introduced to somebody new. But James Patterson, I've heard good things about that. I may have read a book by James Patterson. I'm not sure. I can't recall one. Lorraine says you don't know if a book is good until you read it, and that I think that's kind of my point. I think that's kind of the problem. I don't know if I'm going to like the book until I read it. And I wish there was a better system for that. I do enjoy reading books. I love reading books. Like I said, I don't read as much as I'd like to. Uh, I feel like I feel like I feel like a lot of people are in that situation where you spend a lot of time reading things on the internet, like articles, things of that nature, um, websites, Reddit. I spend a lot of time on Reddit. Uh, I feel like the more you spend time reading on the internet, you just don't have that bandwidth in your mind to uh, to read books. That said, I do enjoy reading books. I enjoy reading books just as much as I like watching a movie or any other kind of entertainment. Um, so I want to make sure that I read at least a couple of books a year. Maybe, yeah, I said one book a year, but really I want to read more than that. Um, But yeah, you don't really know. Give peace a chance, but possums only if they had a baby on their back. I could draw a baby on this possum's back if that would warm me up to it. But yeah, you don't really know. And it's kind of unfortunate. There's a couple of books, and I can't think of any off the top of my head. Well, one recently, so like in the last couple of years. There's a book called uh, "The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime." It's about an autistic kid who goes on like this little adventure where he's usually housebound, and then he decides. It's been a lot while since I read it, but he ends up finding himself like abroad, and he's autistic, and he doesn't really know how to deal with that kind of stuff. So it ends up, kind of telling that story from his perspective. I really enjoyed that book, and I don't remember how I came across it, but that is an example of a book that I enjoyed that I probably wouldn't have like read had somebody not recommended that to me. And I think it was a coworker who recommended that to me, and I really enjoyed it. So I wish there was a way to kind of bridge that gap where I end up knowing beforehand that I'm going to enjoy. Kid wants me to do extra work, draw a baby on board. Maybe I'll do that. Probably not, but I think it needs one. Seriously, I I don't have a reference picture of a baby, so what do I just draw like a miniature version of this one? I don't know. It's tough for me to imagine the pictures that I'm drawing. I need reference photos to work from at this stage in my artistic progress. Maybe I'll get to the point where I can just imagine a baby possum out of the blue, but I'm not there yet. But yeah, so like I would love to if any of you guys have read any good books that you want to recommend, let me know. But I enjoy reading books. I read them probably slower than like people who read books often. You know, reading a good book probably take me at least a couple of days, where maybe somebody else could finish it in a single day. Um, I like to pick it up, read a little bit, put it down, come back to it a little while later. So for me, probably over the course of a week or something. Now, the more I get into it, the more I kind of make time. I don't know. Like if I really start getting into the book, I'll forego other entertainment. Like I won't watch a movie because I want to read the book or something like that. Room Dog says, "Oh no, baby makes like 300 back." Yeah, honestly, you couldn't draw it to like one baby. These guys they pack a load. You probably end up with like five on this guy's back or lady's back. Yeah, these possums they crank them out. I like that. I think that's a realistic looking branch there. That's very nice. Let me get this little paw going down here. Again, I dip my pencil in the water. I don't really need to, but in my mind, it makes a more solid line, more ink-like line. But yeah, I really enjoy books. I enjoy movies based on books. Like there's always this disappointment if you read a book and then you go and watch the movie where you feel like you're missing out on like a lot of like good content from the book. And I agree with that. Like there's not very many good adaptations of books into movies. But I still like those type of books, like or those type of movies. So, for example, I watched a movie recently that I've seen millions of times, but I just recently watched it again called Legends of the Fall, and it's so full of character development that I know that it's based on a book. I don't even have to look that up. I'm just pretty sure. I like those kind of stories. Those are great. Lorraine asks, is anyone going to get the treasure inside? So that's a treasure hunt that's coming up that's worth like, I don't know, like $2 million. It's a lot of money. Um, there's like 5 boxes spread across the United States. Sounds like a pretty interesting treasure hunt if people are into like puzzle solving and stuff. I am seriously considering it. I haven't bought the book yet because I wanted to kind of hear from other people what kind of treasure hunt it is. Because like I'm not just into treasure hunts. Um, I really like Forrest Finn's treasure hunt. I like how that one was set up, where it was basically this old fashioned kind of like Goonies adventure. Um, so like if this new if the treasure inside treasure hunt ends up being like I don't know like a cryptographic kind of like puzzle or something like that, I probably won't get into it myself. So I'm kind of waiting to see what other people say about it first. But I am interested. I am following that. I'm still following that. Was it projectskydrop.com? I think that one's fascinating. I like that one where you have a circle that's like 500 miles across and it's slowly getting smaller each day. And then out there in the woods is like something that's worth like $20,000 for somebody to find. I like that. It's fun watching the circle uh, get smaller every day. My prediction, and I've been consistent with this, and I've been pretty close to being correct on each circle reduction. My prediction is that that's going to be in Massachusetts, probably northern Massachusetts, more to like western Massachusetts. It may still be in like Vermont, but I'm thinking it's closing in on Massachusetts. Connecticut's out. I'm going to go and call that. Oh yeah, Lorraine, you're following that as well. Yeah. So my guess is there's that reservoir there in central Massachusetts. I forget what it's called, but it's near Amherst. So my guess is like around Amherst. It may be like a little bit north, maybe a little bit west, a little bit east or something, but around Amherst, Massachusetts. Now it may be closer up to the New Hampshire border. That was my first guess. But I think as it's starting to close up and stuff, and the temperatures, like the webcam. By the way, the webcam that I'm talking about, where I saw the possum, and that was the Project Skydrop webcam. There was this adorable possum who came in and just wreaked havoc near that treasure. So the treasure for that is a golden chalice. It's worth $23,000, I think. Um, and it's just out there in the woods. It's sitting out in the woods right now tonight, and nobody has found it yet. It's somewhere in New England. The You go to projectskydrop.com and you kind of guess where it might be, um, and it's somewhere in New England. My guess is probably around Massachusetts, but your guess might be better than mine. If you live in that area, I definitely encourage you to check that out. Like if any of you guys live in the New England area, um, you know. Uh, New York, Pennsylvania, something like that. Like I don't think anybody would call New York or Pennsylvania New England. That's kind of like fighting words if you're from there. Um, but if you live like in Boston or something like that, there's a treasure hunt going on right now that's out in the woods. You can go and find this golden chalice. I'm calling it a chalice because it kind of looks like a cup. I don't know what they call it. They probably just call it like a sculpture or an object or something like that. But anyway, it's out there in the woods. If you can find it, it's yours. There's a crypto wallet that goes along with it. It's like half the bounty or something. I think the bounty's up to like 10 grand right now. So minimum, the gold in it is worth like 20 something thousand dollars, but you also get this crypto wallet as well. But it's pretty cool. I like it. I like it because it's only 21 days. Like after 21 days, that treasure hunt's over, and I like that there's a finality to it, and that there's no misconception. Once it's over, you know where it was. Um, it's not like the Force Fin one where they still haven't announced where that thing was. People have guesses and stuff like that on the Force Fin one, but this one's definitive. Like you will definitely know where this one was. I like that aspect of it. Yeah. So that's the one I'm currently tracking. I have no intention of going out to New England. I don't really have the time to take off. Um, but you know, it's the type of treasure hunt I enjoy. It's pretty cool. I like trying to be able to figure out like the only clues you really have is the ever shrinking circle, and then if you pay, you actually get some aerial photos. So like the higher it goes up, you might recognize something in the environment, um, which is all cool. I think that that's going to be a challenge regardless. I think it's going to be where you really won't see any so the greater circle isn't going to be reduced enough where you can pinpoint where it is anytime soon. A lot of people are making an effort to try to figure out where it is based on the temperature that you see on the webcam or the cloud cover. These are all great ideas, but I don't think it's going to narrow it down far enough. I think it's going to be you have to wait until enough is exposed with those aerial photos where you can actually call it. Otherwise you're just wandering around the woods. Like if it happened to rain on that exact spot, maybe you can figure out something from the rain or something like that. But cloud cover and stuff, clouds obviously interact with the sun, and the sun covers all of the earth. So I don't know how much you can narrow it down. The temperatures, they've been basically in the 60s recently. There's been a lot of cloud cover, which is pretty amazing. Like you can actually see in the webcam, um, when it's sunny, when it's not. You can kind of use some of that stuff to kind of basically get a guess going. But again, it may be in it may be in Massachusetts, it may not be, but that's the kind of like narrowing it down you can get. Like you can maybe get it down to, I don't know, like 25 miles or something like that. You're not going to get it down to a pinpoint. You have to wait. So it's a little frustrating, I guess, for the people, but it is what I mean. That's why it's fun, right? Like it's fun watching that circle drop every day. And I know it's not like a madman. Like if you're not following this thing, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Just go to projectskydrop.com and you can kind of see where what I mean by that circle reducing and everything. It started off at 500 miles. It's down to I want to say 200 miles, something like that. I forget, but that's going on right now. Larry says, I got to run, but how many rednecks does it take to eat a possum? I really want to know the answer to this. I've got some redneck tendencies in me, so I am super curious. How many rednecks does it take to eat a possum? Get some of the dark area underneath this. Yeah, I think we're getting pretty close to calling this done. I want to get some more features in here, and then maybe another 10 minutes at most. But I like this guy so far. We definitely have to hang out to see what Larry says about his how many how many rednecks does it take to eat a possum? It takes two, one to eat while the other one watches for traffic. That's great, Larry. I appreciate it. I appreciate you stopping in, and I'm sorry you have to leave early, but you've watched most of this, so um, just check it out tomorrow or something like that. I appreciate you hanging out with us. I love Larry. He's great. when when to eat the possum, when to watch for traffic. I mean, unfortunately, that's what these guys are known for. So, like, if you don't live in the United States, you really don't know how bad it is. But these guys get run over like all the time, and it's sad that that's what they're known for because, like them or not, they're you know they're they're probably like super smart. I know they may not look like it, but they I would think that these guys are just as smart as any other kind of marsupials, or like raccoons are probably just as smart as raccoons, and raccoons are super smart. All right, so I'm pretty happy with all of this. Let's see, anything that I'm missing as far as like trying to get details in? Think through here. All right, that's pretty good. All right, so at this point, I like to when I get down into this area, I kind of like to abstract it a little bit by putting in some distressed areas. So I put in like these little splotches and stuff. I think they look cool. I still haven't fully cleaned it up, but I've got like splotches all over. Like there's a wall back here. It is full of like all these different like charcoal and there's some coffee stains and stuff on the wall. But you know, sacrifice. You sacrifice for art. Honestly, the kind of sacrifices I make for art are not the kind of sacrifices other people make. Like some people take this stuff super seriously, and their art is their life. You know, as far as like expressing things, that it's all about art for them. So in my case, I'm just getting a little extra splotches all over the place, which is fine. So I like to put this in so that you kind of have like a little dissolvement of the animal. So I think that looks cool. Look at this guy and see if there's any sort of features I can get in before I call this done. So he's got some whiskers. Let me see if I can get those in. So he's got like a whisker here. Get that in there. It's got. Unfortunately, you have to draw these whiskers that quick, right? So like I'm just kind of scraping across the paper. And in order for it to look realistic, you almost have to do that. You can really kind of like slowly draw it across, but I don't know if it's going to turn out looking right if you do that. Let me get this fur looking. So there are some white whiskers in there. I don't know if this is really going to show up. I'm going to use this white gel pen and get some lines going. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to really show up. So this isn't really showing up on camera, but I want these like little white lines in here representing. Maybe if I take a little bit of time. Yeah. So I can't draw these quickly, but I want some whiskers through here. Again, they don't show up very well on camera, but I see them. All right, so you get a little bit of whiskers in there. Um, Rum Dog says those are creative intros, Jeremy. This possum isn't dead. Oh, you mean like down at the bottom? Well, I guess it does kind of look like he's dissolved, which isn't good. That's not what I meant. Get some little whisker lines going through here. So these guys have super wiry hair. Um, like I said, I've had unfortunately I've had some of these guys not by my current dogs, but in the past I've had some of these guys die by my own dogs, right? Where I've had to dispose of the remains and you know, so I've gotten you know, not because I, I really wish my animals would leave these guys alone. My current dogs, they don't bother these guys, which is good. But in the past, I've had dogs that have murdered um, possums, and I really wish they would leave them alone. But I've gotten kind of a close-up look of these guys in the past, and they do have like really wiry fur, like super wiry, almost like a wire brush or something like that. But yeah, I think we're about done here. Splotches on the wall. Yeah, they're the splotches all over the wall. Seriously. But yeah, so we're at like an hour and a half. I think we're about done. Um, so I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I know possums aren't everybody's favorite animal, but I like them. Like to me, they're giant rats, and I actually like rats. I think rats are adorable, but I realize it's not everybody's cup of tea. but I am trying to be a wildlife artist, so I'm gonna sometimes do animals that might cause offense to people, and um, it's just the way it is. I appreciate you guys being patient with me and like suffering through that kind of stuff, but um, a little bit of shadow underneath here so that kind of separate the face out from down here. Anyway, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on this Tuesday night. It's always fun to do like a different animal than I've done before. I haven't done a possum before. I think this guy kind of looks a little cute, so that's good. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I will be back on. Here I go. I'll be back on Thursday, and I think I'll probably do another dog or a cat or something. It's been a little while, or maybe I'll do another coffee painting. That'd be kind of cool. Been a little while since I did that. We'll see. If you guys have a recommendation or something that you'd like to see, feel free to drop a comment or just let me know. We're always on the lookout for good ideas. All right, I'm gonna stop fiddling with that. I think he looks like a possum. I think he looks kind of cool. Oh, coffee Sasquatch. That's kind of cool. I saw this thing. I don't know if I should steal the idea, but sorry, just knock this. Um, but I saw this Sasquatch on somebody's. You know how like they have the decals on the back of people's trucks. It was the Sasquatch kind of laid out, just kind of like chilling, like in a like a bathing suit or something like that. I might steal that idea for a drawing, but yeah, a Sasquatch would be cool. All right, that might be fun. I will keep that in mind for Thursday. We'll have a little bit of fun with the Sasquatch. I love Sasquatches. Sasquatches are cool. Anyway, so I'm gonna let this guy be. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this possum as much as I did. Um, Again, like I said, I just like doing wildlife in general. I've always liked possums. They show up in my yard sometimes, so like whenever I see one, I kind of want to draw it. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me while I draw this one. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well. Let's see. I will be back on Thursday. Gotta let these dogs out. Oh, there. Look at this. Look at that smile on her face when she's like scratching herself. That's pure satisfaction right there. She's enjoying it. Ain't that right? Anyway, so I'll see you guys on Thursday. Have a good one. Uh, yeah, see you then. Have a good one. Bye. Thanks.